Hello, everyone, and welcome back to King's Advisors. Today, we got a little bit of Game of Thrones news to talk about. So, as several of y'all are probably aware, over this past week, George R. R. Martin has decided to start clapping back against fan outrage over the fact that he has not finished Winds of Winter yet. And he started it with this little, let's call it a meme, that he decided to post on his Twitter account. And I will get the. Here we go. What everyone thinks I'm doing, sitting there staring at aliens, what I'm actually doing. And the thing that's really annoying about this, not only is he making fun of all the people who have been sitting here waiting for his book, waiting patiently, who want this Winds of Winter and this great story that he's created to finish so that we know what happens. He's treating it like a complete joke that he hasn't finished the book. And the thing that gets me is we can see here on this beautiful Screen Rant article, because they are top tier researchers and writers. But on this, they actually do a really good job of proving my point. So I am very grateful for this article. So obviously, the really dumb part about this article is the fact that they explain the joke. So clearly, they haven't heard of the fact that if you have to explain a joke, it's not funny. So let's read their explanation real quick. Mark's post begins with a picture of him standing by a group of aliens. The caption, what everyone thinks I'm doing all day, sits at the bottom of the post. Below that picture is another image of Martin frantically writing on a post-it note while sitting in front of his computer. It is captioned what I'm actually doing. Now, if we go back to the actual thing, it looks more like he's writing in a little book and not a post note. You can see right here, that's the book is right here. That's definitely a book. He's probably making some sort of note. I don't know. But the thing that bugs me is moreover the fact that if we go further down, Screen Rant writes, why is the Winds of Winter taking so long? Because Martin insists that he is working on the book, it is prudent to question what is actually behind these constant delays. One explanation could be that The Winds of Winter is the longest book in the series, which I do believe we have several reports from him basically saying that that it's exceptionally longer than anything he's written so far, and he isn't sure whether or not he has to break it up into two books. And of course, they have this note here explaining that Martin has written other books in the universe, including A World of Ice and Fire, Fire and Blood, and A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I do believe he just wrote to have fun. Part of me does think, though, that one of the reasons we've been waiting so long is because he decided to change how things went after we got the ending to Game of Thrones. I don't think he liked the fan reaction and all that. And I think one of the reasons he wrote Fire and Blood, which is the Targaryen history book, is so that we have a basis for something that he wanted to put in either this book, Winds of Winter, or the final book, A Dream of Spring. But here is the really annoying thing about this Screen Rant article, and let's call them Martin apologists. A lot of people say that the reason he's having difficulty is because he's created a complex world with so many characters and plots crossing each other. It's simply difficult to finish the story. I'm going to go ahead and call bull on that. Here is the real reason why we have not received this book yet. This comes from Fansided. Martin is doing much more than just writing Winds. He's also working on more stories in his Dunk and Egg novellas, as well as working on another Fire and Blood book. On TV, he's executive producing an HBO adaptation of a random TV show, and he consults on Game of Thrones spin-off shows like House of the Dragon and the soon-to-be Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Now, I don't really care about the work that he's doing on other Westeros stuff, but why is he putting Who Fears Death above the thing that has made him famous and given him the money to do this other stuff and the stuff that his actual fans want? I don't give a rat's ass about Who Fears Death. Give me Winds of Winter. He's quoted down here as saying the success of the show and the success of other things has injected a lot of other aspects into my life. So sometimes I lay in bed at night and I'm not thinking about Westeros. Why? Westeros is the reason that you have these other things. Finish the story. I'm thinking about some other problem I'm having on one of the other shows I'm involved with, or a deadline or an anthology I'm editing, or something that happens with a nonprofit organization that I started. All of these other things are filling my head, and that is one of the things that delayed me. I really have to get wins done. Duh. I have to put myself in a state where I'm not being distracted by other stuff. And that period of time at night is filled with the voices of Tyrion Lannister and Arya Stark and other fictional characters who live inside of me. So this is my problem with this. This is what bugs me about George. Say no. If HBO comes to you and says, "Hey, will you executive produce Who Fears Death?" Well, what does that entitle? What does that mean I have to do? Do I have to do stuff on that instead of writing wins? Yes. Say no. No, sorry, I have something I have to do instead. No, sorry. Winds of Winter is the thing that I need to finish right now. This constant need for him to either be loved by everyone or do every single thing in the world or be have his name in every single new video game or new TV show or new book series blows my mind. I was watching an interview that Matt Rife, that comedian, gave to somebody. I think he was talking to Tom Segura. And I'm watching this interview, and Matt talks about this conversation he had with Dave Chappelle when Dave Chappelle called him up and was basically like, "Hey, I see that you're doing a lot of stuff. You know, don't be afraid to say no. You don't have to do everything. You're comfortable now. You're at a point where you can just do what you want to do. If you if you're going to go buy a house, then you can say like, yeah, I'll do this tour so you can shore up that investment or so you can afford that house without dipping into savings or stuff." And it's like, George, you've got millions of dollars. You don't have to do this stuff anymore. His constant need to do more and more and more. It's like he's trying to build up a resume to defeat Tolkien. And that's just not going to happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm just ranting at this point, but it bugs me whenever we hear about a new project from the writer of A Song of Ice and Fire. And it's like, what do you mean a new project? Why aren't you finishing the book? But that rants over, everyone. You know, if you're still here, thank you so much. Comment below what you think is the real reason we haven't gotten these books. Do you think we're ever going to get these books? There's a lot of people that think we won't. There's a lot of people that think either he's written them and they're only going to come out after he dies, or that he's going to release Winds of Winter and then just let it end and not ever actually finish the story. And then, of course, there's people that think he doesn't even know where the story's going. Let us know what you think. You know, I think I'm going to talk about this later in some other videos about how I think the story's going to go and whether or not these stories are actually already done. But let us know. And always, thank you so much. Like and subscribe, click the bell, and follow us on Twitter at KingsAdvisors_.